Hello and welcome to this video, guys. In this video I want to introduce a new camera to the channel, which has actually been one of my dream cameras for a very long time, and I want to show the first 2 rolls of film that I shot using this camera, and that is this guy. This is the Leica M2. So you might have seen that a few months ago I released a video about my Canon P. And the reason why I got that camera is because I couldn't afford to get this camera, but I still wanted to use a rangefinder, and so the Canon P was kind of like, in my opinion, the best alternative for an affordable price to a Leica M camera. But a few weeks ago, I kind of made some sacrifices and sold some gear that I didn't necessarily want to sell, but I wanted this camera more than I wanted to keep them, and so I listed a couple cameras on Facebook Marketplace as well as eBay, and within a couple days I made some sales and I had enough money to then purchase this guy. I searched Facebook, eBay, and Reddit, and I kind of ran into 2 problems. The first one being that there weren't that many M2s for sale, and the M2s that were for sale I thought were just a little bit too expensive. So as a last resort, I checked Craigslist. I don't have anything against Craigslist, I just didn't really think that there were going to be any Leicas for sale that were local to me, or at least somewhat local to me. And to my surprise, I found some guy who was selling this M2 as well as a Leica M4. And the reason why I said the seller was kind of local is because he lived a little bit over 4 hours away from me. So after selling all that gear and getting the money that I needed for this camera, I reached out and offered what I had, which was a little bit less than what he listed it as, and he accepted. And the next day I drove about 8.5 hours and picked up this guy. So driving 8.5 hours and selling a bunch of cameras that I liked, was it worth it? I would say 100%. I've been lusting after this camera for so long, and I think it's just one of the most beautiful cameras ever made, film or digital. From the 2 rolls that I'm showing in this video that I've shot with it, I've absolutely loved it. As of right now, I'm currently on my 4th roll of film. I've owned it for like 3-ish weeks, so I've been kind of shooting a lot. I keep it in the bag that I take to work, and on the days that I'm not at work, I either have it slung around my shoulder, or I'll put it in this guy. This is my long weekend crossbody bag. I absolutely love this thing, and yeah, I don't know, it's just been such a nice camera to just have on me and to take pictures with. So my first roll of film was just a lot of taking pictures of, you know, things around my house or at work, you know, just to get a test roll through and make sure that the camera worked properly. But for my second roll of film, I wanted to actually go out and photograph something. So I looked on Apple Maps. There's like a local lake to me, and around that lake I saw a couple small little towns, so I decided to zoom into one, and after doing a little bit of research, I found this like really odd landmark called the Crooked Church. And it piqued my interest so much that I felt like I had to go out and take pictures of it, as well as the town that it's in. One thing that I'll mention is when I had my Canon P, I shot almost exclusively in Sunny 16, and with this camera I did a little bit of a mix. I shot you know, some Sunny 16, and then I also used my handheld Sekonic meter to meter some of the scenes. Also, side note, I know this is a photography video, but for those that might be interested, I wanted to show the video camera that I was using to film all of that footage. This is my Sigma FP rig. It's missing the monitor because I'm using it, it's right here to film myself. But yeah, this is my Sigma FP rig, and on it I have, this is new for me. Freewell, this is a Freewell variable ND, it's a magnetic variable ND, but someone from Freewell reached out to me a couple days ago and asked if I'd be interested in them sending it to me and me testing it out, and I said yes. I just got it and it's so far freaking awesome. I have a couple videos, like more like filmmaking videos planned out, so I'll go more in depth into this rig, as well as show some tests with the filter, but I'm super excited about this. It's like the first good filter that I've ever had. I've always bought like cheap ND filters, and so having a good one is pretty nice. Sorry, that's besides the point. After I was done blasting a bunch of photos at the Crooked Church, as well as the store or restaurant thing that was next to it, I drove into downtown, parked, and photographed a couple things in the downtown area until I turned a corner and saw this building. When I saw this thing, I was like blown away because of how cool and interesting it looks. It kind of looks like some old almost like gas station, but I don't see any gas pumps, so maybe it's just like a store, some sort of a shop or something. Regardless, it did look pretty abandoned to me, like there wasn't really anything there. But yeah, it was just so cool, and probably not that surprising to see something like that in a town like this. But yeah, I spent probably 20-ish minutes there. And something funny, I think there was like an active manhunt going on or something, because as I was taking pictures, the same sheriff came up to me twice. The first time he asked if I was getting any cool pictures, I said hopefully. And by the time I was kind of wrapping up my time taking photos there, he came back up to me and he was like, "Hey, weird question, you wouldn't have happened to see some guy walking around here?" And then gave me like a short description of what he was wearing and what he looked like. I didn't see anyone. I told him that, and then he kind of just drove away. And that was the kind of the end of that. So as I was walking back to my car, I took a couple more photos, and I wasn't able to finish the roll that night. I finished it at my parents' house. I took some pictures in their backyard, and I really liked the way that they turned out. Overall, this was a really fun roll. I'm really happy with how the photos from this camera turned out, as well as the video from this camera. It's kind of funny, the video that I got from this guy and the photos that I was able to take on Fuji 400, I feel like I'm getting the hang of how to properly grade the footage coming off my video camera. And at the same time, I feel like I'm getting a really good handle of the way that I like to convert the Fuji 400 images. You know, when I first started shooting that film, I wasn't a huge fan of it, but now that I've shot a bunch of rolls of Fuji 400, I'm kind of feeling a lot more confident and more comfortable getting the film to look the way that I want it to look, and I'm starting to really enjoy the results, and I'm happy that it's my everyday film. I actually just released a video of Fuji 400, so if you are interested in that, I'll leave that in one of the corners as well as linked in the description. But yeah, it's a great film stock, and I had an absolutely wonderful time going out and taking photos with this camera. One kind of quirk of the M2, for those that might not know, is the film loading system. It uses a spool that you have to remove, almost like a medium format camera, where you have to attach the film onto, like the film leader onto the spool, and then you can put them back in the camera and then advance it. It's not hard to do or anything. It's not annoying to me. It's just something that I'm not really used to, so it kind of is taking me a little bit of time to actually properly load the camera. However, today when I was loading the fourth roll of film into this, I was able to load it pretty quickly. I kind of think I have a better idea, or I figured out a better idea to properly load this. But yeah, it's just going to take me a little bit of time to practice before I get quick and efficient with actually loading this camera. And I decided to save this to the very end of the video, but for those that are interested in how much I paid for this camera, the seller had it listed for $1,400 and I paid $1,200 for it. So yeah, $1,200 and an 8.5 hour drive. I would say that it was very much worth it. 3.5-ish weeks after this video comes out, I'm going on a trip to London. My fiance and I are visiting my sister and my aunt who live out there. And that was one of the reasons why I was in such a rush to get this camera, is because I really want to take this camera on that trip with me. And so yeah, I'm super excited that I have it. I'm really excited for that trip. I have a ton of videos planned, and I'm probably bringing way too much film. But, why not make the most of the trip while I'm there, because I don't get to go to London very often. And so yeah, on that note, I think I'm going to start ending this video. If you guys liked the images that you saw, if you liked the video in general, please consider leaving a like or subscribing to the channel. If you are interested in checking out more of my work, I will leave my Instagram as well as my website in the description below. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.